Welcome everybody to MBTV. This is my first video on the YouTube channel, so I just wanted to take a minute to introduce myself before we get into the trade. My name is Mark Benjamin. I'm a futures trader and primarily focused on Nasdaq and S&P 500. Over the past 3 years, I've just spent thousands of hours studying markets, testing different strategies, blowing accounts, breaking rules, and honestly making pretty much every mistake a trader can make. But through all of it, I've slowly started to build a model that actually makes sense to me. A combination of ICT concepts, liquidity, market structure, and order flow. The trade you're watching right now is one of the trades that took this past Friday, and my goal is to simply document the process, share what's working for me, and hopefully help other traders avoid the same mistakes I've already made. So if you're into futures markets, order flow, business, content creation, or just watching someone build something from the ground up, you're in the right place. Now being said, let's get into that trade. Alright, before we get into the actual trade, I want to show you guys exactly what I was looking at before New York session even opened. Personally, I only trade New York session. In my opinion, it is the best session to trade because that's where we get the most volume, the cleanest moves, best delivery, and honestly the best opportunities throughout the day. A lot of time, London and Asia session kind of set the stage, but New York is where the actual move happens. Now, the first thing that stood out to me was on my Seek and Destroy profile, said it was a potential Seek and Destroy today. So what this means is that Asia high and low were both taken out during London session, and that when that happens, there's a higher probability of London highs and lows being taken out by New York session. Obviously, nothing is guaranteed in trading, but when I see a setup, I immediately it gets my attention. Now, before we even talk about an entry, I'm trying to build a narrative. I want if, but, then scenarios. I don't want New York to open and then start guessing what I'm gonna trade. I want to already know what I'm looking for. If we do this, well, we're looking for shorts. If we do this, then I'm looking for longs. I want my game plan before market even opens. Now we're on the daily time frame. When I started on the daily time frame, and this is where I started getting bearish, the first thing I noticed was this daily bearish gap overhead. We also had buy side liquidity sitting along with an intermediate high. Also, we have previous week lows already swept, and we have previous day relative equal lows. We also have daily EQ and standard deviation sell side levels below us. To me, this suggested that was room to rebalance price lower. So at this point, my daily bias was bearish. I hop on the 4 hour, and I also see that there is a 4 hour bearish gap aligned with my daily gap. This just gives me better levels. And then I can also add the volume profile at the midpoint of this, and I can also get more levels. And also I see here that the point of control is also lower. But here's where things started getting interesting. When I dropped to the 4 hour, everything started lining up again. The 4 hour was supporting the exact same idea that I already had from the daily. Once I went to the 1 hour, once I got to the 1 hour, I marked the low resistance liquidity below us. I also marked a 1 hour bullish gap that we had lined up with a 15-minute fair value gap. I wanted to see if there was another 15-minute fair value gap above here. I was trying to guess which fair value gap would hold. It was pretty obvious to me because the 15 is again aligning with the higher time frame gap, showing us where we're gonna go. On top of that, I also had standard deviation marked out when I took the trade, and the negative standard deviations were lining up in the same end. At this point, I had enough I'm gonna start from here. On top of that, I had negative standard deviation reversal levels lining up in the same area. At this point, I had enough confluences to start looking for shorts. I dropped down to the 15-minute chart, and this is where I started making a lot more sense. First, I started marking out session London high and low. I found a 15-minute fairly aligned. I found a 15-minute fair value gap right here and right here, but this one was more interesting. It aligned with the 1 hour gap. we also had a bearish SMT, and then after we made that, when New York opened, we started pushing lower. Now I was guessing which one was going to hold again. Like I said, this one was definitely going to hold. I wasn't predicting anymore, I was just waiting. And this is where honestly most traders, this is honestly where most traders just mess up. They get their bias right and they get their narrative right, but they force an entry. They try taking longs randomly. I didn't want to do that. I wanted confirmation. So first I went to the 5 minute and I tried to look for an entry. First I needed a high time frame gap to get tapped into, and once I get this high time frame gap to get tapped into, I'll just wait right here. We get that true manipulation to take out London lows, and now we have this bullish SMT that on ES we had this bullish SMT because we took out London lows, but NQ in fact did not take out London lows, and I think in Asia session we took out London lows. But I'm just waiting here because most people would have took the long right after this IFVG here, but you gotta wait for that market open, manipulate, shoot a swing. Now there could have probably been an entry. Someone probably took this. I didn't take it. There was nothing really supporting the high time frame there. I was just waiting until this intermediate high gets swept out, because that was my most obvious drop. We took out London highs. What did we do? When waiting, we don't get that sweep. See, so I was still waiting for this intermediate high to get taken out, but we didn't take it out. So what I do, I look for the high time frame gap after the 5 minutes. See, the 4 minute had no gap, the 3 minute had no gap, so I instantly went to the 1 minute and I found an FVG. Now once I found that FVG, I used that to find an IFVG setup. I also found 1 minute low resistance liquidity, while also finding more low resistance liquidity below. I look for this 1 minute to get inversed, and after that I just wait for the change in state of delivery and a retest of that. If I don't get either one, I'll replace it with the 1 minute break of structure and then retrace into a fair value gap. I also have the fib here, lines up perfectly with the 0.5, so we can see exactly if we really want continuations higher to that intermediate low or back down. We also get this bearish SMT on the 15 minute, which is very important because it was in already a place that we were looking at, and it's huge. It's in a place of manipulation, which makes it very high probability. Again, I'm still waiting until I get this full inverse and candle closure. Now this candle closure wasn't the best, but it was actually pretty good. Actually, I can't lie, I didn't see it till now. So we get this. So I don't enter here. Now I'm just waiting for a bullish candle to present itself. Yeah, so after I get this candle, this big ass wick candle, now I'm just waiting for it to break the body. And once I get that, it's a little messed up here. I entered, my FVG was at this 0.6 Fibonacci line. Actually, no, it wasn't. I put my stop a little bit above this 1 minute FVG near these two levels, and I hopped back on the 5 minute. Again, I was still careful about this 15 minute IFVG, and I was really scared of this 1 hour gap because I didn't know if you were going to disrespect it or respect it. So what did I do? I just took profits at my standard deviation levels. Now I just wait for it to bank. So yeah, after that I just hopped on the 5 minute. I got everything I was looking for, so I took my trade with proper risk management, and this trade played out almost exactly how I wanted it. And this doesn't happen every day, but when the higher time frame narrative and execution lines up like this, these are the trades I'm looking for. I end up catching around 7 RR on this move, and it was enough to pass 2 Apex 50k no activation fees. But the biggest lesson from the entire trade wasn't the important part. The 1 minute wasn't the important part. The fair value gap wasn't the important part. The IFUG wasn't the important part. The important part was the narrative, because the setup actually showed up. Wasn't trying to figure out what the market was doing anymore. I already had a plan. I already had a narrative. I was just waiting for the market to confirm it. And that's what allowed me to execute without hesitation and with consistency. That is the full breakdown of this trade. Hopefully this gave you some insights on how to approach Nasdaq using ICT concepts and order flow. Like I said, the goal of this channel is to document the journey, share what I'm learning, and continue to improve as a trader every day. That's the name of the game. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, because I'll be posting more trade breakdowns, daily biases, vlogs, live streams, and updates as I continue building flow state markets and growing MBTV. That being said, see you in the next market.